सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं नाथरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तं पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुभात्मूर्तिवेदं दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नारायणं पद्मभं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तद्भूतपराशरं च व्यासं च भारतं गोविन्दं विक्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यस्य जानपादाचार्यं च शिष्यं तं तोटिकं कृपास्मद्गुरुं सन्ततमार्योऽस्मि साक्षात् सच्चिदानन्दं प्रियं तन्नमामि विश्वस्य योगिगं परं पदं खानिरात्मं पुरुषर्पणियोद्गतं यथा ध्वान्तच्चिदेन तस्मै हरये बुद्धिसाक्षिणे श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। That verse, so 99 said what? Pramanam antarene esham buddhyadinam asiddhata anubhuti phalartitvad atmajna kim apekshate. I want to make a clarification here. Clarification or an add-on, you can take it either way. This swayam anavagamatmakatvat and anavagamatmakatvancha mohamatra upadanatvat. I mentioned this taking what? Taking cue from the last verse. Uktarthe swayam hetu. What was the uktartha? Tippanakara said uktartha is buddhyadinam vyavahitam uktavartha. So if buddhyadi are being shown to be separate or bhinna from atma, then and swayam ajnata satta, who's it? That buddhyadi. When it has already been said that atma is swayam prakasha, it has been said earlier, you've seen this atmatvad atmana and there itself tadanapekshaha swatah siddha atma swabhava apekshaya. Swatah siddha has been mentioned. Therefore, this sambandhokti here, swayam anavagamatmakatvam kasya kesham. So buddhyadinam, not atma. Atma cannot be said to be swayam anavagama. Even if you say it, it can be taken. Not that it cannot be taken. By itself, atma cannot be known, you have to say. Unknown atma, meaning known as something else. There moha is needed. So it can go with atma, all right. But in the sandarbha, I took it with the buddhyadi. Because pramana mantarena esham buddhyadinam asiddhata. That shows that they are not known on their own. So I would still keep it with buddhyadi. The clarification I want to give is, if anyone goes through translations, so you may think, okay, Swamiji made a mistake. Okay, that is also possible. But here, if you look at it, see, atma ajnana matra hetuk hone se buddhyadi aspurana swabhav hai. This Hindi does not make much sense there. Atma is ajnana matra hetuka and buddhyadi is aspurana swabhava. Due to that hetu hetumat is not working for me. I just looked up, I was scrolling and then I just saw this. So I don't go through the translation, but while scrolling, I just saw this, why atma is mentioned here. So to me, it does not make much sense. If you take it, you have to say, it has been mentioned that atma cannot be known without upadesha. That is the way you have to understand. Otherwise, buddhyadi are not swayam prakasha. That is the sandarbha. So it's better not to go out of sandarbha if you can make sense with the buddhyadi. Because here the context is not that you need jnana for atma, ajnana to go away. All that has been established, it will come up again and again. But in this context, I personally feel it is not appropriate to take the meaning of atma being swayam anavagama. Atma is avagama because it has been said swatah siddha. But what kind of atma? All that needs Shravana, I accept that. But still, buddhyadinam asiddhata, when it has been mentioned, then sambandhokti cannot be outside that versus context. This is my, this is my plea to you. If you look into it, then you have to see in the context. It's better to take the contextual meaning. Although both are applicable, it can be explained the other way around also. I would prefer to stick with buddhyadi. So, what has been said, without the pramana, these buddhyadi are not established, whereas Atma is established without any pramana. Atma is established without any pramana, but Atma's advitiyatva, not being sharira, ahankaradi, for that you need pramana. Atma is swatah siddha, but to know the very swarup of Atma, which is separated from the others, you need Upadesha of the Shastra, Shastra Guru Upadesha, and then thereby again Neti Neti Prakriya. It takes away the misunderstanding, and what remains is Atma. So this is the context. And Anubhuti Phalartitvad Atmajna Kimapekshate. Kimapekshate has been mentioned. So Pramanam na apekshate. Pramanantaram na apekshate. There is absolutely no pramana needed, because Atma itself makes all pramanas as pramanas, work as pramanas. Thereby Anubhuti phalartitvam nasti. Here you see in the tika also. Anubhuti reva phalam, anubhuti phalam tadarthitvat swatah tadrahita buddhyadinam vyavadhanam ityartha. That anubhuti swarupa is not there for buddhyadi. Buddhyadi have dependency on the anubhuti swarupa atma. And you look at the tippana also. Tippana says ajnana nivritte vrittim arthamanaha api atma. Vritti is needed, all right. But even then, na anubhuti rupa phalasya arthityaha. So both meanings have to be taken, can be taken, and then you say buddhi has dependency, atma does not have dependency on any other pramana. Therefore, atma may need pramana to reveal its nature as not being with mishrita with the buddhyadi. But buddhyadi is need for their satta also, they have dependency on pramana. Okay, I hope it is clear. Further in the 100th verse introduction, Tekakara says, Atma anatmanoho uktanyayena atyanta vishishta vivikta svabhavayoho sanyoga samavaya tadatmyadi sambandha asambhavat. He says, Atma anatma. Atma and anatma. Now we have established that buddhyadi, buddhi, deha, ghatadi, prapancha is all what? Anatma. Atma is the innermost pratyagatma, not the jivatma who takes himself as having tadatmya sambandha with the sharira. Sukshma sharira and then stula sharira. Manusham, whatever. Then Kurushaham, Striyam, otherwise. Further also, more and more Visheshanas as what? This kind of a person, Putro aham, Putri aham, or whatever, Mata, Pita aham. There is a Bheda drawn clearly between Atma and Anatma. With what? With Anvaya Vyatireka, initially using Tarka, and then showing that Tarka has basis in Shruti. So Shruti has also been shown. Now, Tikakara says, Atma Anatma Uktanyayana Atyanta Vishishta Vivikta Swabhavayo. You can find very, similar words in Adhyasa Bhashya. So, very similar words Bhagavan Sureshwaracharya uses in the Sambandhokti also, and here taking cue from that Tikakara also. In fact, even if you look at Gita, there are so many Vyakhyanas in Advaita Sampradaya, but I am yet to come across someone who does not take cue from Bhashya. Even if they write independent Vyakhyas directly on the Mula, still Mangalacharana they'll do. Even if they don't do Mangalacharana to Bhagavan Bhashyakara, they'll use Shabdata or paraphrase Bhagavan Bhashyakara. There is no other, learning without Bhashya. So just like Shruti is Mula for everything, for the Advaita Sampradaya, Bhashya is everything. Every idea is there in Bhashya, therefore Vyakhyanakas open it from various perspectives. What is Bhagavan Bhashyakara's mind? That's why Prasanna Gambhira. Like Mahabhashya, they say. Bhagavan Bhashyakara's style is like Mahabhashya on Vyakarana. It's very similar. Shaili is similar. So, Atma Anatmano Uktanyayana, as described earlier, so much logic has been shown. Atyanta Vishishta Vivikta Swabhavayo. What is their Swabhava? In Adhyasa Bhashya, Tamah Prakashavat Viruddha Swabhavayo. Yushmadasmat Pratyegocharayo. Here what? अत्यंत विशिष्ट विविक्त स्वभाव. They have they have such visheshanas or dharmas. Dharmas are also opposite to each other. How will dharmi be one? Dharmas are opposed to each other so much so that dharmi also is segmented, separated. Segmented is separated. Of course, one is mithya, the other is satya. We are not talking about dvaita. One is mithya. In fact, satya mithya is the first viveka. Nitya nitya viveka, viveka vairagya there. What is the definition of viveka? Nitya nitya vastu viveka. Brahma ekamatram satyam. Tadbhinnam sarvam anityam. Asat mithya ityartha. So here vishishta, that mithya visheshana is there. Anirvachaniya, sadasatbhyam anirvachaniya anatma. Prapancha paryantam. Atyanta vishishta. And atyanta vivikta also. They can never be together. Tama prakasha viruddha. But still they come together. As aham deha, aham manushya, aham deha, aham brahmana, aham ityadi. That's all what deha sambandha. How? Kathanchit bhavati. Katham bhavati, kathanchit bhavati. What is the answer? Somehow it happens. Mithya iti bhavitum yuktam. Bhagavan Bhashyakara says in Adhyasa Bhashya, mithya means what? There mithya has two meanings there. That Adhyasa Bhashya mithya, first mithya shabda, is not in the sense of this anirvachaniya. Mithya means false. Asambhava. Asambhava pradarshanartham mithya shabda prayoga tatra. So there he says, mithya iti bhavitum yuktam. It should be false. It should be impossible. But still made possible by ajnanata. Then ajnana. Therefore, adhyasa has to be established and then shown. Jnana alone can take it away. Why? Because it is mithya. Mithya brahma cannot go with any karma. It will go only with jnana. Therefore, adhyasa bhashya. Adhyasa bhashya does not make sense to many. Why is he talking about adhyasa? Purvapaksha is there. He says, why you talk about adhyasa? He says, without adhyasa, understanding this is all adhyasta, you won't know what is the sadhana for it. Therefore, you hunt around bhakti, karma, all this, all that is part of mithya only. Isn't your vrityatmaka jnana, shastra part of mithya prapancha? Yes, but we have seen ajnana will take away, jnana will take away ajnana, ajnana being opposite to jnana, jnana will take it away, it is opposed, unlike the other karyas of ajnana. This jnana is opposed and only for its vritti, brahmakara vritti to come up, there is dependency on ajnana. After that, there is no dependency. So all this you have to recollect to see this atyanta vishishta vivikta swabhava. That is their very swabhava. Cannot be together. Sanyoga samavaya. What about them? How are they together? So what are the possibilities? So you take cue from Tarka Shastra. They have done a very good analysis of what kind of sambandhas are possible. Whether we agree or not, they have done the analysis. So we have to talk to them. Because everyone is using Tarka. You have to use logic to establish. If I question, I can't say Shastra says it. Shastra does not say any sambandha is there, really. No sambandha. You have taken it for granted. Shastra does not have to talk about sambandha. But it says you have taken the sambandha as real. It is not there. Now, what kind of sambandha? There can be sanyoga between Atma and Anatma. Sanyoga is between two dravyas. Or there can be samavaya sambandha. Samavaya sambandha is between guna guni. Then the member and the species. Jati vyakti. And so on. Kriya, Kriyavato, ityadi. So all those, they have categorization of what is samavaya sambandha. But samavaya sambandha is nitya sambandha. Sanyoga is not nitya. Sanyoga is like hasta pustaka sanyoga. You hold a book, hasta pustaka sanyoga. Ekadesha. Ekadesha sambandha. You cannot have, the entire hand cannot have sanyoga with entire book. So Ekadesha of the pustaka has sambandha with Ekadesha of the hasta, hand. That is sanyoga. So viyoga is possible. You leave the book aside. There is viyoga. Sanyoga is broken. Samavaya is nitya. Samavaya is nitya. What is tadatmya? So tadatmya, Tarkikas have a very different idea of tadatmya. Tadatmya means what? Tat. Tat or sa atma yasya. Tadatma. Tasya bhava tadatmyam. So there is oneness. What is that oneness? So they say Ghataha has tadatmya sambandha with Ghata. Ghata is one. How can it have sambandha? Sambandha is between two, but they have this idea. Ghata has sambandha with Ghata. They also have another Adipada is there. They also have something called as Swarupa Sambandha. That Swarupa Sambandha is what? Swarupa Sambandha is with its Abhava. Abhava has Swarupa Sambandha. Ghata Abhava has Swarupa Sambandha in Bhutala. So some ideas are there. We'll not go into those details because Abhava we don't need here. We have two Bhava Padarthas have Sambandha. They think Anatma is Bhava Padartha, Atma is Bhava Padartha. We don't say it is Abhava Padartha, Anatma. It is not Abhavarte nahi anyway. So we say it is there, but Yatkinchit Bhava Rupa. It is not, the Bhava Rupatvam is not exactly as Atma has. It is not Sat. It is Sadasadbhyam Anirvachaniya, but it is not Abhava. So we give some Mithya value to it, Vyavaharika Satta. So it is called as Bhava Rupa. Bhava Rupa means what? Vyavaharika Satta Bhava Rupa. That is the Bhava. It is not that Bhava means Satya, which will never go away. So there is an akshepa from the moderners who think that Vyakyanakaras have said this Virodharthe nahi and Bhavarthe, this Avidya is Bhava Padartha. So they have these akshepas, they have misunderstood it. Misunderstood or purposely, don't want to accept it. They say, oh, it is Bhava, it will never go away. What kind of Vyakhana? So for that, so we'll say that your study is not enough. Use your brains. So, yasya swayam nasti prajna, shastram tasya karote kim. If you are hell-bent on saying, no, I'll remain Mudha, then Shastra cannot help you. So, or you are adamant to point fingers there. See what Vyakyanakaras have done. They have exhausted their entire life in trying to make the others understand. It is not to showcase your jnana. Some may be there. That kind of Vidvat Pradarshana is there, but that's okay. You discount that. Here, Sanyoga Samavaya is a possibility. What about the third one, Tadatmya? That is also a possibility. Which among these is the Sambandha then? Which are completely separate of Vivikta Swabhava, Atyanta Vishishta Vivik Swabhava, Atma and Anatma. What kind of Sambandha can they have? Sanyoga, Samavaya, Tadatmya, Adi. Sambandha Asambhavat. Sanyoga is not possible. Atma and Atma cannot have a Sanyoga. Ekadesha, Atma has no Ekadesha. Atma is one and it is Purna. So taking Ekadesha Sambandha also, Sanyoga is not possible. There are many possibilities to discount Sanyoga. But we can take simple one. Sanyoga is between one part of one thing with another part, but one part of another thing. So some part of both things come together, that is Sanyoga. Atma cannot have a part. Therefore, Sanyoga is not possible. What about Samavaya? Samavaya is Nitya Sambandha. We don't accept anything as Nitya. Brahma alone is Nitya. You cannot have Samavaya Sambandha. In fact, we don't agree with anything called as Samavaya Sambandha because Guna Guni are never seen as separate. We say Ushna Agni. There is no Anushna Agni to have that Ushna as Guna. Ushna is a Svabhava, Swarupa, we say. So Samavaya is not possible. Tadatmya that they talk about, Ghata has Sambandha with Ghata. That is Tadatmya Sambandha. That they will themselves not accept. Because Atma is one Padartha and Anatma is another. So you cannot have Ghata Ghata Sanyoga. Ghata Ghata Sanyoga means same Ghata as, sorry, not Ghata Ghata Sanyoga, Ghata Ghata Tadatmyam. Sambandha, Ghata Ghata Sambandha, which is Ghata with its, not another Ghata, same Ghata. For technicality, they call it as Tadatmya Sambandha. For technicality in Navya Nyaya, especially they say Tadatmya Sambandha there. They'll use that. Meaning Tadatmya Sambandha is there in the Prachina Tarkikas also, in Darshana, but still more and more Visheshanas in long Samasas are used by Navya Nyayika. So he'll say Tadatmya Sambandha he needs for technicality, so he'll use it. But he will also not agree that Atma and Anatma have Tadatmya Sambandha. Nobody will agree. Then what about Tadatmya of the Purvamimamsaka? The definition is what? I've said it many times. Veda Saishnu Aveda. Why not use that? So we'll give it some acceptance. That kind of a thing is possible. Veda Saishnu Aveda, but not exactly the way Purvamimamsaka thinks. Because Bheda, Saishnu, Abheda, you have to have real Abheda. We'll agree the real Abheda, but Bheda then has to be Mithya. There we'll agree. So we'll have to say what? Adhyastha Tadatmya or Adhyasika Tadatmya Sambandha. This is what we finally agree with. Here we don't agree with any of these. So when we say Sanyoga, Samavaya, Tadatmya Adi Sambandha Asambhavat, we are saying Tarkikas, all sorts of sambandhas are impossible. Purvamamsakas also Tadatmya Lakshana, Veda Sahishnu Abheda is not acceptable as is, but if you accept that Veda is Mithya, then we'll say yes. Therefore, on the face value as their Lakshanas appear, we don't agree. We don't agree Sambandha is possible. So if no Sambandha is possible, then further Antarena cha Sambandham, meaning Sambandham vina. Without Sambandha, Antarena cha Sambandham, without Sambandha, Prakashya Prakashaka Bhava Yogat. There has to be some kind of Sambandha to have Prakashya Prakashaka Bhava. Prakashaka is Atma, Prakashya is Anatma, Buddhyadi, Prapancha. Some Sambandha has to be there. You say no Sambandha is there. Like what Sankhyas say. Sankhyas say there is no Sambandha between Purusha and Pradhana. We say without Sambandha, how will Prakashya Prakashaka Bhava work? That's what Shruti talks about. You have to accept Sambandha. Therefore, in this context, if you remember, Sankhya's Mata and our Mata is same, said the Purva Pakshi. Siddhanti said no. Our Mata is not like Sankhya's. We took Sankhya's Mata and refuted others. Then we say our Mata is different from Sankhya's. And Tarkikas also definitely. How so? They say there is no Sambandha between Atma and Atma, Purusha and Pradhana. We say there is. What Sambandha? If there is a Sambandha, then you are, first he said, if you are like Sankhya's, then you are a Bhedavadi, you are not a Bhedavadi, you are not Advaita Vedanti, you are Dvaiti. Siddhanti said, no, we are not like that. We don't consider Bheda as real. It is Mithya for us. And Sambandha is also Mithya. Satya with Satya can have Satya Sambandha. Satya with Mithya cannot have Satya Sambandha. Sambandha also has to be Mithya. Therefore, Mithya Sambandha. Antarena cha Sambandham Prakashya Prakashaka Bhava Ayogat Adhyasika or what? Adhyasita. Adhyasika or Adhyasita eva Sambandho Vaktavya. We are forced to accept Adhyasika Sambandha. Not real Sanyoga Samavaya or Tadatmya. Real Tadatmya also. It is Adhyasika Tadatmya Sambandha. No, you tell me what Sambandha is there. There is no Sambandha. We have been saying actually there is no Sambandha because no second entity has to exist for Sambandha. There is no second entity at all. But if you insist, then we'll say yes, second entity is Mithya. Therefore, Sambandha is also Mithya. Aham Manushya, that Manushyatva Sambandha with me is Adhyasika. Superimposed. Kalpita. Kalpita ityartha. Tasya cha adhyasasya. Now this adhyasa. What about this adhyasa? Tasya cha adhyasasya vidyamana bhedayoho tadagraha purvakatvat uktah vyatireka vivakshita adhyasa siddhaye anudyate iti aha. Vakshamane iti. So tasya cha adhyasasya. That adhyasa, adhyasika sambandha is there. So adhyasa. This superimposition, the idea kalpitatvam, superimposition, this imagination, this delusion that we have, not illusion, delusion. Illusion is mere appearance. Delusion is getting connected and getting carried away with Satya Buddhi. Illusion can be known as illusion. Delusion has to be inquired into. Nobody says, you are illuded. They say you are deluded. So illusion is elsewhere. Illusion is there. It appears. Delusion is you are infected with that illusion. When you are infected, it's a disease. Samsara roga, bhava roga. So it's a treatment. Treatment is jnana. Jnana aushadhi. So here tasya cha adhyasasya vidyamana bhedayo kayoho atma anatmano. Atma anatmana both have bheda. They are separate from each other. But this bheda is unknown. If you don't know Bheda, what will happen? You are looking at a distance, you see something. You say, I see something. But you are not able to see two. It is not one thing, there are two things. So they both have merged into one. Why? Because you don't see two, right? So if you see a bird is flying and somebody says, oh, look at it. Chaitra tells to Maitra, look at it, there's a beautiful bird. And Maitra says, oh, I'm seeing it. There are two birds. Are you seeing only one? Where is the second bird? So the second bird is flying behind. Maitra has, he does not have weak eyes like me. So he sees the second bird there. He sees a third wing. So he says, oh, the third wing belongs to the second bird. So Viveka is possible then. Tadatmya Sambandha won't be there. There won't be merging between the two, like Chaitra did. So here you see, Vidyamana Bhedayo tadagraha is Bheda. Vidyamana Bheda agraha Purvakatvat. Kasya Adhyasasya. Adhyasa is possible. You can superimpose the second bird on for the first one only when the second bird is not known as a second. When you don't know two, here I gave the example of a bird. But what? Rajju Sarpa there. Second is not really existent entity. In the example I gave, birds, there are two real entities. Vyavaharika. But in Rajju Sarpa, there is no second entity. When you don't know Sarpa is separate and Rajju is separate, then this Adhyasa is not possible. But there also, that example also won't work because here we need two separate, one Mithya. So when Rajju is there, Mithya Sarpa is not there. When Rajju is seen. Therefore, how do you say? Use Rajju Sarpa or you can use the Rakta Spatika. This Spatika looks like a red thing. Why this second flower is not seen? So the flower dharma is seen in the Spatika. Pushpa dharma, Raktatvam is seen in Spatika, which is clear really. Because of the second entity missing, the redness and Spatika have Tadatmya now. In my drishti, I see a red Spatika, red crystal. Crystal is clear, but neither do I know that, nor do I know that there is a red flower next to it, which I can't see. Therefore, the reflected red color is seen in this Spatika itself. I think that this is a red crystal. So that example can be used. Tasya cha adhyasasya vidyamana bhedayo tanagraha purvakatvat. Because there is precedence. Something is expected before that. What is expected before adhyasa? I should not know the difference between the two. If I do not know the difference between the two, there are two entities, then there is a possibility of adhyasa, mix-up of the two. Adhyasa will just simply say mix-up of the two here. Atma and Atma mix-up is possible. Therefore, what? Uktaha vyatirekaha. Vivakshita adhyasa siddhe. This, what is desired, vivakshita. What is desired to be stated, what is desired to be revealed or taught? Adhyasa. So for the siddhi of the adhyasa, which is desirable to be revealed by the siddhanti, for that vyatireka uktaha, which has been stated, ukta vyatireka. Now vivakshita adhyasa siddhaye anudyate. Anudyate is punah uchyate. It is being restated. Anuvada. Anudyati means there is anuvada done. It is already stated. Now it is not something new. Right from the first chapter, first sloka and Sambandha Ukti, it has started. In Brahma Sutra, Adhyasa Bhashya is the opening statement. Yushmad Asmat Pratyay Gochareyo Viruddha Swabhayo Tamah Prakashat Viruddha Swabhayo is the opening statement. So Adhyasa is the bread and butter for Vedanti's Darshana. We start off there. So we bring it back again if it is missing from the Purva Pakshi's understanding here. So, Anudyate iti aha vakshamani iti. Thereby the Sambandhokti now. So much is there in the Tika itself. So much hidden meaning. Now, Sambandhokti, Bhagavan Vartikara says, Vakshamana itara, itaretara. Vakshamana itara. Itaretara. Adhyasa siddhyartham. Vakshamana, which will be stated further. What will be stated? Itaretara adhyasa, and for the siddhi of that, for the purpose of establishing the adhyasa between Atma and Anatma, itaretara, mutually, Mutually there is adhyasa, itaretara. Atma takes anatma dharma, anatma takes atma dharma. I think I am going to die, and I think Sharira is living. This is itaretara adhyasa. Thereby what? Ukta vyatireka anuvada. Anuvada, anudyati. Anuvada of what? Ukta vyatireka. There, it has been stated that these two are different. Don't mix them up. Ahankara is separate. You cannot have Mamaham Janami is not knowing myself. It is knowing the Ahankara, which I already associated with as I. Therefore, there is a confusion. This delusion is there. So, Ukta Vyatireka Anuvada, thereby 100th verse, Ghata Buddher Ghatacharthat, Drashturyadvad Vibhinnata, Aham Buddher Ahangamya, Dukkhinascha Tatha Drishehe, Ghata Buddhehe, घटात च अर्थात द्रष्टुः यद्वत् विभिन्नता अहम बुद्धेः अहंगम्यात् दुःखिनः च तथा दृशेः. So example is given just like ghata buddhi. Ghata buddhi is what? Ghadakara vritti. Is this separate from ghata or not? Is ghata and ghata buddhi same? Shunyavadi says it is same. Siddhanti in Drishti Shrishtivada will agree, not with Shunyavada, but he'll say, yes, Ghata Buddhi and Ghata is same, but that is not the Prakriya here. Right now we cannot bring that as the argument here. Here we are saying they are two separate things, so we are taking that Prakriya further as to what Ghata Buddhi, Ghatakara Vritti is in keeping with the ghata, but it is not ghata. When you are looking at a ghata, you have ghatakara vritti. Is that vritti, meaning ghata jnana and ghata artha are separate. Both are anirvachaniya. Both are adhyastha. Therefore, Bhagavan Vashyakara, when he explains all this in Adhyasa Vashya, Tikakaras analyze. They say, what is this? What is this ghata outside? In Rajju Sarpa, you say, what is Sarpa outside? Then it is extended to Ghata. To explain the context there, in Rajju Sarpa, when you're seeing Sarpa instead of Rajju, the Sarpa has to be explained. What is that Sarpa? So somebody may say, oh, Sarpa is in your mind, it is not outside. If the Sarpa is in the mind, can the Sarpa be seen outside? It can't be. In Jagrata Avastha, it can't be. But of course, a lot of argument is there. It's too complex in sequence there. We can say easily Swapnavat Mithya and be done. In Swapna, you see outside, it is not outside. But that is reserved, it is very sukshma. Not everyone can understand it. Therefore, it is reserved in Mandukya. But Samanyena what? Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha are different. So Jagrata Avastha, if you see Rajju Sarpa, you see Sarpa outside, there is no Rajju. Why do you see it outside? Had it been in the mind, you would have seen inside. See, I am Sukhi, I am imagining something. I am Sukhi, I see some Padartha. Let's say I like some particular Laddu example, some sweet I like, and then I imagine that ice cream or take some ice cream or something. I imagine ice cream, oh, amazing ice cream, I don't get it here. I would have loved to have ice cream. So I'm imagining, and then suddenly mouth starts watering. It was a very good taste. Then you say what? Oh, nobody else can see it. Rajju Sarpa, nobody else can see it. Only I see it. The one who has delusion. Similarly, ice cream also, which I am thinking. There, still there is Bheda. That ice cream is not outside. I am eating it in my mind. But Rajju Sarpa is outside. So you cannot say Rajju Sarpa is in the mind and seen outside. You cannot argue like that. Purva Pakshi will question. So you'll need a lot of argument to establish, Swapnavat Mithya Ityadi. So therefore, what we do is that we say, yes, there is Sarpa seen outside. Now he says, if you see Sarpa outside, how can you see Sarpa outside if there is no Sarpa outside? Therefore, the entire, if you recollect, all the Khyati Vada. Pray tell what is the Sarpa outside. Anyatha Khyati, Akhyati, Asatkhati, Satkhyati, all of these ideas are there. Siddhanti says Anirvachaniya Khyati. Siddhanti says there is Artha outside. In keeping with that Artha outside is the Vritti inside. Therefore, Sarpa Artha is there outside and Sarpakara Vritti is there inside. What is this Sarpa? Both Sarpas, Sarpa Jnana within and Sarpa outside. Vritti is Jnana. So what is this Sarpa Artha and Sarpa Jnana? Siddhanti says the Jnana has to be in keeping with the Vishaya. There cannot be a Nirvishayaka Jnana which appears Savishayaka. So if it is a Sarpa Vishayaka Jnana, then there has to be Sarpa Vishaya outside. Therefore, we agree there is Sarpa outside. Yeah, how can there be Sarpa outside? Yes, there is. Why don't others see? Yes, the others don't see because that Sarpa is Anirvachaniya Utpanna. There is an Utpatti of Sarpa. That Utpatti is not seen by everyone. It is Anirvachaniya. Sadasadbhyam Anirvachaniya Utpatti is there. Mithya Sarpa has come up. And this person who can see this Mithya sees Mithya. So Sarpa Jnana has also come up. So therefore we say what? There is an Adhyasa. There is a Sarpa Adhyasa and Sarpa Jnana Adhyasa. This is called as Artha Adhyasa and Jnana Adhyasa. So there is an Artha Adhyasa and Jnana Adhyasa. This is Paribhashika to Vedanta. Artha Adhyasa is what? On the Rajju Sadansha, there is a Sarpa superimposed outside. And within, in keeping with that Sarpa, there is a Jnana of Sarpa which has come up. That is also Adhyasa. So there is an Artha Adhyasa and there is a Jnana Adhyasa. They come up together for the person who is seeing it. Now, that being the case, here, Ghata Buddhe Ghata, and then we'll extend it to the Ghatapatadi, Prapancha. That is also Adhyasta. So here what has been said to explain the difference between the two. In the context, I explained what is Adhyasa, Arthadhyasa, Jnanadhyasa. So Siddhanti says is Ghata Buddhi and Ghata, are they separate or not? In Rajju Sarpasthala also they are separate. Then definitely they'll be separate in the Jagrata Avastha where you are seeing Yathartha Jnana, having Yathartha Jnana. Ghata is there outside, you see Ghata. But are they same? Yathartha Jnana does not mean that Jnana is Yathartha means Artha itself. Jnana and Artha are different. Therefore, Ghata Jnana, Ghata Buddhi and Ghata Padartha, Ghata Vishaya being separate. So, Ghata Buddhe, Ghatacha Arthat. Ghata is Artha, Ghata Arthacha ityartha. Ghata Vishayat, Ghata Buddhe, Drashtuhu Yatvat Vibhinnata. Now, Siddhanti says there are two entities separate from Atma now. This Drashta is neither the Ghata Buddhi nor the Ghata. Do you agree? First we said that Ghata, because Cha has to be explained. Ghata Buddhi and Ghata are two separate things, Artha. So, Vishaya and Jnana are two things. Now, this Drashta of the Vishaya, Drashta of the Jnana. I know that now Devadatta is seeing Ghata. So, there is a Ghata outside, Devadatta is seeing it. Devadatta is Drashta. Is this Devadatta not separate from Ghata? No argument. Definitely he is separate from the Ghata. What about the Ghata Buddhi? Is Devadatta the Ghata Buddhi? Definitely not. There also no argument. Ghata Buddhi and Devadatta are separate. So Siddhanti uses examples. Yatha. So Yadvat is there. Drashtuhu Yadvat. You can say Yadvat. Generally, the usage is not like Yatha. So Yadvat we don't say. So Yadvat can be used later. At least I have not seen it. Drashtuhu Yadvat. Ghata Buddhehe Ghatacha Arthat Vivinnata Bhavati Asti. Definitely, Drashta is separate from the Ghata and Ghata Buddhi. Similarly, Tatha what? Drishye. Aham Buddhehe Aham Gamya Dukkhinascha Drushehe Vivinnata. Yatha Drashtuhu Vivinnata Ghata Buddhehe Ghatacha Bhavati Tatha Drushehe Vivinnata Bhavati. From what? Aham Buddhehe Aham Gamya Dukkhinascha. So what is this Aham Buddhehe? Aham Buddhi is Ahankara. So from Ahankara, the Drishi, Chaitanya is separate. Drishi is Atma here. Atma who knows the Aham Buddhi is separate. just like the seer of Ghata. Okay, and aham gamya is dukkhina. Dukhi is who? Aham gamya. Known through ahankara is what? Just like Ghata Buddhi is known by Drashta and Ghata Buddhi is connected to Ghata. Similarly, Aham Buddhi is known by Drishi and Aham Buddhi is connected to Aham Gamya. Without the Ahankara, you cannot know. So Aham Gamya is Ahankarena Gamya. Ahankara Dwara ityartha. Ahankara Dwara Ahankarena Gamya. Ahankara Gamya is what? Dukhi. Dukhitvam. Without the Ahankara, I won't know Dukhitva. I am Dukhi. So to know I am Dukhi, that Dukhitvam needs Ahankara. So Ahankara Gamya is Dukhi. Dukhitvam. Drishi is separate. Aham Drishi, Chaitanya, Atma, Pratyagatma. I am separate from Aham Buddhi. So am I not separate from the Dukhi also? Definitely I am separate from Dukhi, who is further drawn away from Ahangamya, is Ahangamya and further drawn from Ahankara. Without Ahankara, I cannot have Ahangamya Dukhitvam. That Ahangamya Dukhitvam is because of Ahankara being in the middle, and that Ahankara itself is seen by me. Therefore, I am separate from Ahankara and something which is further away from Ahankara, Dukhitvam. Without the Ahankara individuality, where is the Dukhitvam? Sushupti does not have Aham Buddhi, individuality. There is no Dukha in Sushupti, deep sleep. So this is the 100th verse. Further, okay, 100 and 101st. Achha, here is there's a so 100 here. You have Yatha in the Tika. Something is left. Yatha drashtu drishyayoho drashtru drishyayoho vyatirekah. Yatha drashtru drishyayoho samasa drashta and drishya, pramata and prameya. Is there a difference? Yes. Yatha drashtu drishyayoho vyatirekah. There is a bheda. तथा साक्षी साक्ष्ययोः अपि व्यतिरेकः साधितः इत्यर्थः. Just like the drashta, pramata and prameya, drishya is separate, similarly the sakshi and sakshya are separate. Sakshya is what? Aham buddhi and what? Aham buddhi, ahankara, dukkitva and the rest of the prapancha. But if the closest is discarded as me, not me, discarded as not me, then everything that follows is not me anyway. So you look at where is the Bhranti initial root cause analysis. What is this Mula Avidya? What has it thrown up? It has thrown up Manushyatvam in me, Jivatvam, Samsaritvam, all of these ideas. So where is it due to? Because of my individuality, that I am this kind of a person. That is your first aghata, samsara aghata. So how do you deal with it? You look at it as that I know this buddhi. It comes up in Swapna and Jagrata Avastha, not in Sushupti. So it comes and goes. So that which is Agantuka can have Shadbha Vikara. I am across all of these states and across all of these Shariras, across all of these Avasthas, I exist. Therefore, I am separate from these Ahankaradi. Therefore, Vyatireka Sadhita Sakshi Sakshayoho. Similar to the Drashta and the Gata. So whatever is Pramaya has to be separate from the Pramata Yatha. Similarly, whatever is Sakshya has to be separate from the Sakshi I. This is the idea. We have seen it many times, but still opened up in a very different way. Further, what? Idanim evam yasu. Idanim is the Sangati. Idanim vyatirekam darshayitva tadagraha nibandhano adhyasaha pradarsyate ityaha. So what do we have here? Actually, I just, remember now. Usually I see only one screen here. I'm just looking at who else attends. So some are missing. Okay. Okay, idanim vyatirekam darshayitva tadagraha nibandhano adhyasa pradarsyate ityaha evam etayoriti. In this manner, what is being shown now? Having shown darshayitva, having shown what? Idanim vyatirekam. Idanim, व्यतिरेकं दर्शयित्वा इदानीं, नाट् इदानीं व्यतिरेकं दर्शयित्वा, व्यतिरेकं दर्शयित्वा इदानीं प्रदर्श्यते। किं प्रदर्श्यते? कः प्रदर्श्यते? अध्यासः प्रदर्श्यते। So Vyatireka has already been shown. Having shown that difference between Atma and Anatma, Ahankara, Adi, why is it not known then? If it is separate, it should be known. It is not known. Why? Because there is Adhyasa. Taragraha Nibandhana Adhyasa. Or rather, sorry, because that difference is missed, therefore that becomes the basis for Adhyasa. So which came first? So Bijankura Nyaya, you can question. So some say that, because Adhyasa is there, Moha is there, Vikshepa is there, therefore we don't know, which is at the root level. Ajnana is in Virodha with Jnana. That's why it is not known. But why is it really not known? The real answer is what? Why do we not know? If it is different, why do we not know? Because Ajnana is Naisargika. Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, Naisargiko ayam adhyasa. Ajnana kara is Naisargika. That is why we don't know. Meaning, what is the real answer? Because you have never inquired, never learned. So if the child says, Chaitra and Maitra are talking about it, Chaitra and Maitra have grown together. And Chaitra asks Maitra, when Maitra says, this is anything, yes, like an encyclopedia, there are such people, who know a lot of things about a lot of things. Not expert in one area. I know some people who are, they know many things in many things. So you just, you're talking, I don't know, you ask them, you ask Maitra. So then Chaitra, who has, played around with Maitra and come up, he asks, Maitra, how do you know all this? I don't know. How do you all know all this? Why don't I know? What is the answer? Same answer applicable here. I studied when you were playing cricket, gully cricket. I, saying that I'll win Ranji Trophy and all that. So I was studying in my room. When you were playing, I mean, no insult to the Ranji Trophy players. I'm just saying, you are playing gully cricket. You are entire day when your mother was scolding you, come back, study. You are playing. What was I doing? I burnt the midnight oil. There was a chapter in school, I think, burning the candle of both ends. At both ends, burning the candle at both ends. God knows what it means. So basically what? Trying to study with no other option. Seeing future. My parents saw my future and somehow forced me to study. I studied, says Maitra. So why? Because you have not inquired into it. Had you inquired into it, what would happen? Vicharam na sahate. Ajnanam vicharam na sahate. Does not stand scrutiny. You try to look into it, it will not be there. Then you laugh at it. How did I not know? Like the specs on your head, necklace around your neck, or, specs on your head, necklace around your, all of these, we know these examples. So vicharam na sahate, because we have not inquired into it. Why? Therefore, pradarsyate, adhyasa pradarsyate, agraha nibandhana. Tadagraha is what? This Vyatireka is tat. Vyatireka agra. Vyatireka is not known. Vyatireka agraha. It will become akara with savarna dirgha sandhi. Nibandhana is karanam. So tadagraha nibandhano yasya. Nibandhanam yasya. That will be tadagraha nibandhana. So not making a difference, not differentiating, not having viveka becomes karana for adhyasa to be there. Pradarshate itya evam etayoriti. See, not making a difference is not saying as abhava, jnana abhava. You are not inquired into it. Ajnana is still there. Ajnana is there all the way. Ajnana, therefore, Bhagavan Bhashyakara says, Naisargika Shabda. For Adhyasa is said, but Adhyasa is, by very definition of Adhyasa is superimposition. It cannot be on its own. There has to be a Karana. Karana Reta superimposition is not there. Otherwise, it will never go. Without Karana, if you have Adhyasa, it will never go. So Ajnana is the Karana. That Ajnana is Naisargika really. So Pradarshati Adhyasa Pradarshati ityaha evam etayaviti. Thereby in the Mula, evam etayoho atma anatmanoho swatah paratah siddhayoho. See, swatah siddha atma. Parata Siddha Anatma. Ahankarad is Parata Siddha. Have dependency to be established. Atma is established on its own. Atma comes up. In the wake of Atma, everything comes up. Therefore, Paratas Siddha Anatma, Prapancha, and Swatas Siddha Atma, I. Between those, लौकिक रज्जु सर्प अध्यारोपवत् अविद्या उपाश्रय एव इतरेतर अध्यारोप इति एतदाह. See संबंधोक्ति. This is not टीका. Tikakara uses explanation to, for that. You can say, you can show dosha in Vyakyanakara. See, they have talked about in Moola it is not there. In Moola it is sitting right there. Laukika Rajju Sarpa Adhyaropavat Avidya Upashraya. Pray tell what is the meaning. You can ask the Vyakyanakaras who ask the opponents of Vyakyanakaras. When the Sambandha says that Avidya Upashraya Adhyaropa, Adhyaropa is Adhyasa. Adhyaropa is another word for Adhyasa. Adhyasa and avidya cannot be same because adhyaropa has been mentioned as avidya upashraya. Takes ashraya, upashraya of avidya. So how can you say avidya and so you say I take ashraya of my parents. So my parent and I are one. What kind of logic is that? There's no logic there. I take support of something that I cannot take my own support. I cannot stand on my own shoulders. So whoever I take support of, that entity has to be separate from me. Here it is Karana. Avidya upashraya, rests on avidya, meaning for adhyaropa to come up, avidya is needed. Sambandhoktikara himself says, his own words, Sureshwaracharya. You cannot say Sureshwaracharya never said it. Right in your face. Laukika Rajju Sarpa Adhyaropa Vat Avidya Upashraya Eva Itaretara Adhyaropa iti aha. Itaretara Adhyaropa. Itaretara Adhyaropa, Itaretara Adhyasa. What is the difference? Same meaning, two words. Different. In fact, Adhyasa, Adhyaropa, if you look into it, pratyas are different. Possibly dhatus would be same. I can't make that statement because sometimes there is a moha because different derivations are possible. But here same meaning. Everyone knows adhyaropa and adhyasa have same meaning. So dhatus, even if dhatus are different, still, even if I'm saying, so I'll have to look into it because right now, because I'd spent some time in Gurukula to understand this difference between the dhatu with, because there is some usage of adhyasta and something else. So I don't remember that. So that's why that bhranti should not happen. Therefore, I'm trying to say that, one is ghai pratyaya there. So aropa is there. Word is adhya. I'm talking about adhi aropa. So adhyasa artha, you don't have, dhatus are definitely different. Sorry, adhyaropa, aropa, right? Aropa is a separate word. So aropa with adhi purvaka aropa. In the same meaning, but there, adhi and as there, adhyasa. Dhatus are different. I was thinking of something else, some other word where dhatus are there also. They appear same, but they are different. So here, adhi upasarga is same. Dhatus are different. Shabda is different, but meaning is same. Adhyaropa and adhyasa are interchangeable, just like avidya, ajnana are interchangeable. Still, here you cannot miss out this laukika rajju sarpa adhyaropavat. So where is rajju adhyaropita adhyasta? On laukika rajju only. Laukika is laukika example. We'll see laukika there. Leave that aside. Rajju sarpa. On the rajju sarpa is adhyaropita, but really not on rajju. Rajju gata sadansha, samanya ansha. That's why rajju is not seen. So we say Rajju Sarpa because on Rajju it is loosely used like that. Sarpa, you are seeing Sarpa instead of Rajju. It is says you said as you are seeing Rajju Sarpa. Sarpa is superimposed on Rajju. Basically Rajju Ansha, Sadansha, Chaitanya. On that Sarpa is superimposed. Adhyaropita. What is that due to? Is it Naisargika? Naisargiko hai Adhyasa. That Adhyasa is not Naisargika. Avidya is a karana. Similarly, here adhyasa naisargika means what? Avidya is karana. Naisargika shabda itself means anadi kalata ityartha. Janmata ityartha in this janma. Avidya karana. Eva. Therefore, what laukika rajju sarpa adhyaropavad avidya upashraya eva itaretara adhyaropa iti etadaha. There is a superimposition of Atma on Anatma, Anatma on Atma, Dharma and Dharmi Adhyasa go together. One precedes the other, but it is in technical analysis, one precedes the other. But otherwise, effectually together. Dharmi Adhyasa, Dharma Adhyasa cannot be. You cannot have Dharma Adhyasa and Dharmi Adhyasa separate, really. They are together. One may precede the other. So a lot of analysis is done in Vyakhyanas, in Tikas. Vyakhya is Ratnaprabha Vyakhya, and on that there is a Tika Purnanandi, which is on the Bhashya, which is on Brahma Sutra. But Adhyasa Bhashya is taking cue from the first sutra. Adhyasa has to be established, otherwise first sutra will not make sense. Athato Brahma Jidnyasa, that Vyasa Sutra, Brahma Sutra itself will not make sense if you don't have Adhyasa Bhashya. I don't know, in other sampradayas, they may start their bhashya or directly on the sutra. Without this adhyasa, first sutra will make no sense. It is established very beautifully. Reverse engineering. Bhagavan Bhashyakara is the best engineer in reverse engineering. He says this athato brahma jidnyasa, how will it work? Kartavya brahma jidnyasa kartavya. Brahma jidnyasa, jnatum ichha, vichara in Lakshana Visay. You have to do vichara. Why should you do vichara on Brahma? Shastra says that you take it and go on. How will it help me knowing Brahma? Siddhanti says that without this adhyasa of prapancha, sharira on Brahma, that jnana for which you have to have ichha, you have to do vichara for jnana, that jnana will help you none. Without it, that jnana will help you none. For that jnana to help you to work for the entire set of 555 sutras to be meaningful, first sutra has to be meaningful. Jidnyasa has to be meaningful. Inquiry has to be meaningful. Inquiry is meaningful to give rise to jnana, which is meaningful only if it is going to take your samsara away, which has ajnana as hetu. Ajnana alone, jnana can do nothing else. Only job of jnana is to take away ajnana. And ajnana can give rise to what? Brahma. Unless this entire thing is a Brahma, samsaritvam, jnana cannot help you. And jnana does help you. Sutrakara says so. And sutra is the analysis of entire Upanishad. Upanishad says so. It is Shrutyartha. Therefore, adhyasa, Brahma has to be established. Whereby ajnana becomes established as samsara karana, whereby jnana becomes meaningful as ajnana nivritti dwara moksha karaka. Otherwise not possible. Anyatha anubhapatti, arthapatti all the way. Otherwise not possible. You can keep on doing karma till the cows come home. Nothing will come out of it. Chitta Shuddhi, yes, but nothing in a sense. Moksha. Sakshat Karana is not. It is not Sakshat Karana for moksha. So anyway, I'll just read the verse. We have gone here and I'll close in a couple of minutes. Thereby Tyetadaha Abhrayanam Yatha Moha Shashabhrutyajyat Vasyati Sukhitwadin Dhiyo Dharmans Tadvadatmani Manyate. So for a long time, Dukkhitvam Dukkhinaha has been used. So Sureshwaracharya Bhagavan thinks that now let me show that Sukhitva is also Bhranti. Aham Sukhi, Aham Dukhi, comes and goes. Sukha also comes and goes. He uses Sukhitva now, not Dukkhitva. Some different flavor, So much of talk of Dukkha, talk about Sukha also. It will make us happy. Yes, but it will come and go. That Sukha will not be there. So he says that is also Bhranti. Abhrayanam Yatha Mohat Shashabhriti Adhyavasyati Yatha Tadvat what? Sukhitwadin Dhiyaha Dharman Tadvad Atmani Manyate. So two words are needed, everything else is easy. Abhrayanam. Abhra is what? Megha, clouds. Yana is movement. So the movement of clouds. Yatha abhrayanam. What? Moha. Due to delusion, what? whom do we superimpose on? So you see in the night, in the late evening night, night you see, oh, look at the clouds at night. And then you see Shashabrut. Shashabrut is who? Shashabrut is, one who has rabbit, one who holds rabbits. Appears like holding a rabbit, you see like rabbit ears, some dark, this thing on the moon. So Shashabrut is moon, Chandra. So on the Chandra is still there. Clouds are moving, but what does it appear? Chandra is moving, If the clouds are moving fast, you will see, as if the moon is moving. Very beautiful example. We all have experienced it, especially at night where the Bhranti can be more. Because there is a huge contrast. The Chandra, Purnima, you look at Purnima, on Purnima you see Chandra and then dark clouds moving. They are also lit up by the Chandra. And then you see Chandra is moving. It's a Bhranti, Mohat. So Yatha, Mohat, Abhrayanam, Shashabhriti, Adhyasyati. So movement. Abhrayanam here is movement. Yana, there, Ana, Lut Pratyaya is in the meaning of what? It's Bhavya Vyutpatti. Just like one superimpose this due to delusion, movement of the clouds on the moon, Adhyasyati. Similarly, what? Tadvat, Sukitwadin, Dhiyaha, of the Buddhi. Dhiyaha Dharman. Dhiya is Shashti here. Dharman, second case plural. So, Dhiyaha Buddhi Dharma. Dharmas of the Buddhis, gunas of the Buddhi, Sukitva. What are those Sukitwadin? Sukitva, Dukhitva, whatever, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, all those, everything. Atmani Manyate. Mohadeva. Why? Hetu is same. Mohadeva. This is the verse. We'll see more in the next part. Yat sakshat satchidanandam pratyagadyamakriyam tannamami nrusyasya yogi gamyam param padam. Namaste. Dhanyavada. Again, sorry for the delay.